Hello there. One thing I admire a lot from Christians, and I encourage people to copy from them, emulate that example from them, is the fact that they are very tolerant people. Be it by ignorance, be it by intention, be it by cowardice, but they are very, very tolerant people. As tolerant as Buddhists come across Buddhists, very tolerant people. I would explain why I said so with just one or two examples. In 2015, I remember very well, it was on the 12th of March 2015, I jotted down somewhere. I visited that fine day, my mates that time, a Muslim brother, Alidu, maybe he's watching. And the time I spent there, one of their neighbors came and molested his dad with a machete, molested him, gave him some slaps. A tiny fellow I could handle myself. And they had a border dispute, so it blew out of proportions. And throughout that encounter, Ailidu, my Muslim mate, did nothing. He was quiet with his two brothers, three of them against one. That's four of them with their dad. He did nothing. 2 days later, we had a small outing. We met somewhere, and he always walked with his dagger. He had a dagger. We had a small outing. We met somewhere. We shared a drink, and we started talking religion. And at some point, he told one of my brothers, one of my cousins who was with me, that he should understand that the fact that he's not arguing does not mean that he cannot teach him a lesson. He even pulled out his dagger and told him that if he mentioned one word again about his religion, he would teach him a lesson. It was so intense. If we didn't intervene, it would have been bloodshed. And I told Lido that was the last time we ever talked. I said, brother, 3 days ago about that, I was in your place and somebody literally slaughtered your dad. You did nothing. And here you are about to kill somebody because of religion, because of your religion, as you put it. How does that even make sense? You're ready to kill for a God that should be protecting you, while your dad, whom you are told by your holy book to honor and protect, needed your protection and you did nothing. How does that even make sense? Now, why am I telling you this? Those who are watching the Olympics 3 days ago, 2 days ago, or thereabout, we watched the opening ceremony of the Olympics. We watched the provocation. I'm not a Christian, but I found that very provocative. We watched the provocation by the globalists on the Christians. They did some sort of a remix of the Last Supper. You all have that image of the biblical Jesus sitting on the Last Supper with his 12 disciples. They did a remix of that, and it was demonic. All sorts of those dear people were there. I don't want to mention it here. I don't want to be attacked by Facebook. They're already doing us a lot of harm. It was a complete provocation. Those who have not watched it, you find out. And since then, no Christian has burnt any building anywhere in France. Nobody has been killed by a Christian in retaliation. Nobody has been violently attacked. Christians have just condemned it without attacking anybody physically. No loss of life, no loss of property of anybody. I find that very commendable. They are very tolerant people. You see, I agree with a lot of things vis-a-vis the biblical character, Christ, Jesus the Christ. I agree with him in a lot of stuff. You see, because he came to annul a lot of the teachings of the Old Testament. A lot of those teachings which are what the Quran copied. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Jesus annulled that. It's true at times you need to really give back, do some back to sender, but Christians don't do that. Because if we keep practicing an eye to an eye, there will be no eyes left on earth. There'll be literally no eyes left anymore. So since then, I've been observing, no Christian has done any evil, attacked no one. They've generally condemned what I equally found very provocative. You need to go watch that. Those who have not watched it, you need to go watch that. I found that extremely provocative to Christianity. We can disagree on a lot of things, but we don't go to those lengths, especially with the characters that were involved there. I don't even need to go into the details. People who are interested to go and look for that. What the depiction of the Last Supper, the remix that the people of France and the globalists did, that's very admirable. If there's one thing we could copy from Christians, I say, be it out of cowardice, out of ignorance, out of defeatism, whatever you find, whatever the reason is, they are generally very tolerant people, and that's how the world should be. We should be able to tolerate and be open for debate. That's how the world should be. We cannot, and it's one of the chapters of my one of the books putting out, Insanity. We cannot, we who ought to seek protection from the Almighty, we cannot be the ones trying to protect the Almighty. He's already Almighty. He should be protecting us, he or she or it, not we protecting it. If the Almighty deemed it necessary to have a one world religion, he'll do it. It just needs a tick of the finger or a blink of an eye. And he withholds oxygen from all those who don't toe the line if he deemed it necessary. If he permits the religions of the world to be there, then he wants them, he or she or it, whatever that supreme being is, wants them to be there. So I'd like us to really, really copy that aspect, that positive from Christians. They are very tolerant people. They are pacifists. That's no way saying that Christianity, the church, has not been violent. I've always said this here before. We had the Holy Crusades, we have the Inquisition, we had a lot of millions of people lost their lives, but that has tempered down. That is something we should copy from Christianity. They are very tolerant people, and that's a virtue every believer in God should have. Tolerance. Happy Sunday.